Okay, so today we can start with the CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. Stands for Cascading Style Sheet. Cascading Style Sheet. So Cascading Style Sheet is a language used for describing the look and feel of the web document. It is a style sheet language is used for describing and describing the look and formatting the formatting of web document, okay, which is written in HTML. So CSS is a style that defines layout of HTML documents, and using CSS we can do like we can specify the fonts, colors, okay, margins, height and width, and background effects like background images, background colors. Okay, we can play the background images and advanced position and image, many other things we can do using CSS. So here three ways to write CSS styles in HTML. Three ways to include CSS in HTML forms. So first one, external style sheet. External style sheet. Second one, internal style sheet. Third one, inline styles. Okay, inline style sheet. So these are the three ways to include CSS in our HTML form. So first of all, before we learn these three topics, we have to know the syntax for the CSS. CSS syntax. A CSS declaration always ends with a semicolon. CSS declaration always ends with a semicolon, and the declaration groups are surrounded by curly braces, and the declaration groups are surrounded by curly braces. Okay, so we have to use style tag style tag to include the CSS in our HTML form. Okay, without style tag we cannot use CSS in HTML forms. So first of all, external style sheet. External style sheet is a ideal when the style is applied to many pages. External style sheet is a ideal when the style sheet when the style is applied to many pages. Okay, suppose if you want to change page background, Okay, if you want to change page background or font styles or anything, so just you can modify in .css file. External style sheet nothing but .css files. Okay, .css files. Suppose if you want to change page background. Okay, page background, just you can modify in .css file. Okay, .css file, so it will reflect to the entire application. Okay, to the entire application. So with the external style sheet, you can change the look of an entire website by changing in one file. So each page must link to the style sheet using the link tag. Each page must link to the style sheet. Style sheet using link tag. The link tag goes inside the head section. Use link tag inside head section. Okay, so next, internal styles. Internal style sheet should be used when the single document has a unique styles. Internal style sheet should be used when a single document has unique styles. Okay, you can use internal styles. So you need to write styles for that form only, particular form only. Okay, if you want to write styles only for particular form, you can use internal styles. So internal style sheet needs to put in the head section of the HTML page. Internal style sheet needs to put in the head section of needs to put in the head section of HTML page. Okay, so by using the style tag, and the syntax for this, use style tag inside inside header section. We can use style tag and write CSS properties like this. Just create class, okay, my class, for example color, okay, text color, white color. Okay, this is the color code for white. and we can use this class to the any HTML element. Okay, this is the syntax for internal styles. For external styles, we have to call the .css file inside header section using link tag and href attribute to give the path of the CSS file .css file path. Okay, all styles CSS style properties will be uh, stored in .css file, so we have to give the .css file path and rel tag relation tag style sheet. Okay, so this is the format to write the external style sheet. Again, this is for internal styles. And inline styles, uh, if only a small piece of code, if only a small piece of code has to be styled then inline styles we can use. Inline style sheet can be used. Syntax, for example, you want to apply the background color for div tag, so you can use div tag. Okay, div tag content is sample paragraph. Okay, paragraph. So this is the content in div tag, and I want to apply the background color using inline style. So use style attribute. Okay, use style attribute to apply background color like this. Okay, when a small piece of code needs to be styled, you can use inline styles. Okay, the style attribute can contain any CSS property. Style attribute can contain any CSS property. So to use inline styles, you use the style attribute in the relevant tag and write CSS properties like this. Okay, in the same relevant HTML tag, you can use style attribute, and this style attribute can hold any CSS property. So I will explain one example. So open the folder, our CSS folder. So create one sample form. Okay, there is no files here. So create one sample HTML form, sample.html. Okay, so sample form is created, and we have to write doc type HTML and a header section, and after that body. So these are the common tags, okay, to implement HTML form. So now So I can take one div tag here in div tag, and so this is the content I want to display in div tag. Okay, assume that we have one div tag, and the div tag will be displayed in the browser with this content. So now, so I want to apply some CSS properties, some styles to the div tag using external styles. So we have to create .css files to use external files. All real-time applications compulsory we have to use .css files only. Don't write even single line CSS code also in HTML form. Okay, compulsory we have to use .css file. Don't use inline styles and internal styles in HTML form. Okay, in real-time applications compulsory we have to use external files only. So my styles.css. Okay, .css file is created, and I want to write some CSS properties for div tag. So we can use div id as div1. Okay, so this is the id for div tag. So we can find out the div tag using this id. Okay, we can find out the div tag using this id in anywhere in our application. So I want to apply some CSS properties. Okay, I want to write for div1 tag only. Okay, I will explain the what is the use of hash. Okay, and div background color. Background color is div background color. So this is the color, and the text color F is the white color, and div height 300 pixels, and div width also 300 pixels, and padding. So I will explain this padding. Padding 20 pixels. Okay, and one more thing is you can add font size. Okay, font size 20 pixel. So these are all properties. Okay, so we can use these properties to apply and to make it HTML element look and feel. So we return some CSS class in .css file. Okay, this is the CSS properties. So you can find out hash here. So this hash symbol is for apply the HTML elements, apply this CSS properties to the HTML elements based on element ID. Okay, element ID equal to div1. So this CSS file find out the div tag with div ID is div1 and apply these properties to the appropriate div tag. So we need to link up to these two files. So in header section use link tag and href attribute and my styles.css and relation attribute style sheet and close this tag. Okay, so now run this example. You can see here div tag with the height and width and background color, text color, okay, padding and font size. font size is 20 pixel. So here are the CSS properties. So go to inspect and you can see. So select the div tag and you will find the CSS properties for the particular div tag. Okay, these CSS properties are available in mystyles.css file and line number 1. Okay, it will show the line numbers also here. Okay, so this is the internal styles. So internal styles is a different .css files. Next, internal styles. Internal styles should be used when a single document has a unique styles. For example, we can take another div tag, okay, and div id is div2 and div2 content is this one. For div1 this one. Okay, div2 internal styles, and I want to write some CSS property and I need special styles in the single document. Okay, unique styles I want to. So directly you can write style tag and write CSS properties div2 background color, is red color, text color triple F, div height 200 pixels, width 200 pixels. Okay, and font size 18 pixels. Okay, so now we can run this example. So using this link tag we are applying CSS properties to the div1, and using this part we are applying styles to the div2. Okay, this is external styles, this is internal styles. Okay, so this is the div2 part, this is div1 part. Okay, div height and width. Okay, div2 height 200, width 200, font size 18 pixel, and background color red, text color white. And div1 styles, background color, height, width, text color, padding, and font size. Okay, and next inline styles. Small piece of code like paragraph, we can take paragraph. So this paragraph contains this information. Okay, this is the paragraph content. So this paragraph needs special piece of style. This special piece of code needs to be style. Use style tag and text color. Just I want only text color here. Just use color codes only. In real time also compulsory use color codes. Okay, don't use color names in real time applications. Okay, now run this example. You can find here third paragraph. So this paragraph just only font the color. So these are the internal styles, external styles, and inline styles. So using
So,
.css.
Prasad, so if I want,
So after this one, these ways of insert the CSS in HTML forms. The most important concept is selectors. CSS selectors. CSS selectors nothing but how we can apply CSS properties to the HTML elements, like um, based on id, okay, element id, or based on element name, based on element class name, we can apply properties to the HTML elements. So here we have three selectors. First one, element selector. Second one, id selector. And third one, class selector. Okay, these are the three types of selectors is there. So this id element selector nothing but id element selector selects elements based on the element name and apply the properties, CSS properties. Selector selects elements based on the element name, element name, and apply CSS properties. Okay. Uh, Next, id selector. Id selector use the id attribute of HTML element. Selector use the id attribute of HTML element to select a specific element. A specific element. Okay, using HTML id attribute, you can find out the element and apply the CSS properties. And after that, class selector. So class selector selects elements. Selector selects elements based on the class name. Okay, use class attribute and specify class name. Okay, so these are the three selectors available. Okay, these three are most important. So now I will explain these three selectors in the same example. Okay, element selector. This element selector selects elements based on the element name and applies CSS properties. For example, here we taken div1, div2 IDs, right? And I don't want to use IDs. Okay, remove these IDs. And now I want to apply same styles for multiple div tags. Okay, for multiple div tags you need same styles. So directly you can use element name. So here for id, I will okay, so directly use div name. Okay, element selector selects elements based on the element name. So this CSS class selects the elements based on element name. So find out the div tags in the HTML form, okay, with element name is div, and apply the same CSS properties to the multiple elements. Okay, so multiple div tags, same styles will be applied. Like this, paragraphs are span. So any element you can use based on element name. It will apply the same styles for multiple elements. So run this example. Okay, these two div tags, same styles is applied here. So we'll differentiate. Margin 10 pixel. Okay, so margin property is used to create the space around the element. Okay, so now these two div tags are separated, and you can find two div tags are same styles. Okay, if you need multiple elements, if you want to apply same styles for multiple elements, use element selector. Okay, based on element name, the same styles is applied. The same styles. Otherwise, you want to apply different styles for different elements. You can use IDs. So based on ID, you can write different styles. So now remove this one. Hash. This is for 1 and this is for 2, right? For ID selectors, we have to use hash symbol and followed by ID of the element. Okay, for element selectors, directly use element name only. So based on the element name, it will apply the CSS properties in the HTML form. So now here two div tags, two different styles is there. So for div 1, these styles, for div 2, these styles. Now you can run this example. Okay, so first one, these styles, second one, these styles. Okay, background color red color and height a bit. And first one, height 300, width 300. And class selector. Class selector is also like ID selector. Okay, if you want to apply different styles for different elements, and otherwise if you want to apply different styles for same uh, elements like div tags or paragraphs, you can use class selector. So class selector selects elements based on the class name and use class attribute and specify the class name. So instead of ID, you can use class. Okay. So for class selectors, we have to use dot symbol. Okay, this is the class. Two classes is there. First div1 class, div2 class. So we can use these classes in anywhere in the application. Okay, for id also we can use anywhere in the application. And class selector and id selector almost same. Okay, but id selector is slower than class selector. Okay, class selector is faster than id selector and it will improve the application performance. Okay, so in real-time applications also you can observe almost classes will be there in the real-time applications. Okay, in rare situations they will use id selectors. Okay, almost use class name to apply the css properties. For example, you can take go to meeting website. So go to inspect and you can see all these are frames. Here you can see, okay, class attribute row, uh, okay, and here class side menu container. Okay, here also class side menu. Okay, class side menu title. Okay, button class btn link close. So almost real-time applications use class selector to apply CSS properties. Okay, so class selector improve the application performance. id selector is class selector is faster than id selector. Next, text elements. Text elements. So text element is used to set the horizontal element of a text. Used to set the horizontal element of a text. Okay, so elements are left, right, and center, and justify. Okay, so these are the four elements is there. So by default it will take left element. Okay, text will take left element, so all the text will be aligned to the left side. For example, if you want to add if you want to display the text in right side. Okay, from right side use right element. Okay, we can take one example for paragraph. Okay, the paragraph content by default will be displayed in left side. Okay, but if you want to display that paragraph content in right side, use style and use text align property, align right. So this is the property. Okay, text align is the property name and right is the value. Okay, name and value pairs. So right is the value, so that the text content of the paragraph, okay, this content will be displayed in right side. Okay, if you use center, the text will be displayed in center again. And justify is nothing but set a block justified text. Justified text is a block of text that aligns on the left side and the right side. So adjusting the word and letter spaces to justify adjusting the word and letter spaces in each line of text each line of text uh, each line of text to make each line same length. Okay, adjusting the word and letter spaces in each line of text to make each line same length. So for example, again here the paragraph is displaying left side element. Okay, by default it will take left element, but I want to display this paragraph in right element. Just we can use property text align. Okay, right. So the content of this paragraph will be displayed right align. Okay, so this is the right alignment. For example, you want to display this content in center align. Use center. Okay, the paragraph is aligned to center and justify. Okay, so just copy this one and paste here in paragraph and refresh this example. You can find out each line of adjusting the word and letter spaces, okay, in each line of text to make each line the same length. And next one is text transform property. Text transform, this property is used to specify uppercase and lowercase letters in a text. This property is used to specify uppercase and lowercase letters in a text. Okay, for example, syntax text transform property. Okay, text transform property, and you can use the values like uppercase or lowercase. You can use only one value. Okay, either uppercase or lowercase or capitalize. Okay, capitalize. only you can use only one value from these three values: text transform property, uppercase or lowercase or capitalize. So for example, you want to display the text content in uppercase letters. Total paragraph will be displayed in uppercase letters. Otherwise, if you want to display total paragraph in lowercase letters, use lowercase property. Okay, and capitalize property, if you use text transform property, capitalize each and every word first letter is caps letter. So here we can use text transform property, capitalize. Okay, so actually the total content inside this paragraph is in small letters. Okay, lower letters. So text transform property and capitalize. So this total content will be displayed in uppercase letters. So refresh this example. Sorry, capitalize. So capitalize means each and every word first letter caps. Okay, you can find out here. Each and every word first letter is capital. And if you use uppercase, the total content will be in uppercase letters. Okay, actually our content is in small letters but displaying in uppercase letters. So if the content is in uppercase, okay, copy this one and paste here. Okay, now the content is in uppercase. Okay, you can use lowercase, so that content will be displayed in lowercase letters. Okay, and the next property is font family. Font family. So font family property specifies the font for the HTML elements. This property is used for specify font for HTML elements. The font family property can hold several font names. So there are two types of font families. So first one, generic font family. And second one is font family. Okay, these are the two types of font families available. So generic font family, a group of font families with a similar look. A group of font families with a similar look. Okay, generic font family, nothing but group of font families with a similar look. So you can use sans serif monospace. Okay, as example, serif monospace font families as per example for generic font family. So these two font families are similar look. Okay, and the font family, nothing but a specific font family. It is a specific font family. For example, Times New Roman, Arial, Calibri. So like this. Arial, Calibri. So different font families. So different font styles, not similar look. Okay, Arial and Calibri, not in similar look font, right? So serif and monospace are similar look font families, but these two are different look, Arial and Calibri. You can use font family property here, family colon. So you can see here Franklin, okay, Gill Sans, Sans, okay, Tahoma, so Times New Roman. So all these are group of font families with a similar look. Okay, okay, monospace, sans serif. So Arial. So Arial font family is like this. If we use Calibri, the font is like this. Okay, and also like we can use font size property also. Font size property to specify the font size. Like you can define 20 pixel, 30 pixel, okay, 50 pixel like this. Okay, this is 20 pixel font size. Okay, these are the font families, font family property and font size property.